Okay, Shalom. I'm a Hebrew Israelite here to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom, to speak about the upliftment of God's chosen people, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans according to the Bible. Alright? First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders that rule well. Salutation and much love to you, Akim, out there pushing this word out, truth and sincerity. Alright? So I'm going to start off with Revelations, the 18th chapter. Okay? Because Babylon the Great has to be destroyed before the kingdom of heaven is established, man. Okay? This wicked kingdom, right? Spearheaded by Babylon the Great has to be destroyed, okay, before the kingdom of heaven is implemented. Alright? So this is Revelations 18. I'll start at verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Alright, which means Babylon the Great, which is America, is going to be completely destroyed. Alright, it's going to turn into a desert. Okay, where it's only going to be vultures, lizards, things like that are living in that land. Okay, and you're not going to be able to notice which state was which. Alright, you're not going to be able to notice Texas, you're not going to be able to notice Nevada. Alright, it's all going to turn into a desert. Okay, all those buildings that you see now, they're not going to be here. Okay, let me continue with that. And it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Alright, so the kings of the earth will be these other nations. Alright, they've committed fornication with her. Alright, which means they took hold on her philosophies. Alright, they were drunk with the wine of Babylon, the philosophies of Babylon, man. Alright, what are some of the philosophies of Babylon? Okay, homosexuality, that's a philosophy of Babylon. Okay, feminism, that's a philosophy of Babylon. Okay, that's just to name a few. GMO foods, you know, McDonald's, Burger King, that's all part of this Babylonian system. Alright, so they push that upon these different nations, okay, to force them to follow that way. Alright, so spiritually they're getting those nations drunk. Okay, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies, man, which means these other nations. Alright, because America is a consumer-based nation. Okay, it's the biggest consumer-based nation on the planet. Alright, so all these different nations, they bring their goods and they sell them to America. Okay, America imports more than it exports. Okay, by far. So these other nations are getting rich off of America. That's why it says the merchants wax rich through the abundance of her delicacy. Okay? So we gotta break this down line by line. Alright? So that you people, the brothers understand what's going on. Yeah. Alright? So these other people, even these heathens, can understand what's going on. Okay, because we have to tell them their judgment too. Alright? And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities, man. Alright? Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled up to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Alright, because America has never been touched before, man. Alright, America has never really been touched. Alright, even going back to the Japanese, the Pearl Harbor and all that was all orchestrated, man. Alright, she's never been touched really. Okay? At 9/11, that was all orchestrated, okay, by the government, all right, by the elites, in order for what? So that they can, first and foremost, go into Iraq to have an excuse, all right, And also so they can drop that Patriot Act on you. All right? Which takes away your freedoms. Okay? So realistically, America hasn't been touched yet. All right? So that's what it's saying here. So when we continue with that, verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord power who judgeth her, man. So she's going to be utterly burned with fire. That's the judgment of Babylon the Great, which is America. All right? And that fire is going to come from those nuclear missiles, man. All right? That's known as the weapons of the Lord's indignation, according to the Bible, when you break it down. All right? He's the one who set up those scientists to understand the knowledge of the nuclear missile and how to split the atom and all that. Okay? That's for his purpose. All right? He set that up. So those nuclear missiles, every last one of them are going to be used, man. All right? People are talking this peace talk. There's no peace, man. These other nations, they're getting ready for war, man. They're not getting ready for peace. All right? They're strategically placing their armies in these different areas, man. Right? Ready for war. Okay? So there ain't going to be no peace. Matter of fact, let me get Psalm 7 real quick. Get Psalm 7. Alright, this is Psalm 7. Let's start at verse 11. The Most High judgeth the righteous, and the Most High is angry with the wicked every day. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He had bent his bow and made it ready. All right, that bow is talking about the nuclear silos. Okay, and that sword is talking about the nuclear missiles. All right. He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors, man. The instruments of death is talking about the nuclear missiles, like I was explaining to you. Okay, the Most High is the one who gave them that knowledge to do that. All right? It wasn't Satan who put it in their mind. It was the Most High who put it in their mind. Okay? For what? To fulfill his will, to fulfill the nuclear destruction upon Babylon the Great. All right? Because like I said, Babylon the Great has to fall before the kingdom of heaven is established, man. We can't be ruling side by side with Babylon, man. All right? The Most High is going to destroy Babylon, right, through nuclear fire, and everyone that's in that area, all right, is going to be destroyed as well. It's as simple as that. All right? And if you're in Montreal, if you're in Toronto, you're close enough to get touched by that wind too, man. You think there's no fortress blocking Montreal or blocking Toronto or anything like that. All right? And really all these major cities of Edom is going to be touched. Okay? Because it's a world war. It's not going to be just a few nations. It's going to be all these nations, man. All these nations are going to come together to fight. All right? So all these nations are going to shoot their missiles, all right, in different directions. All right? But the main target is going to be America, right? Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. He made a pit and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. All right, so they came up with the idea to make the nuclear missile. All right, they came up with that idea not to be used against each other, but to bully these other nations into submission. Okay? And that's what they've been doing for a long time. They've been bullying these other nations, right, who didn't have that nuclear power at one time. But now that they have that nuclear power, they're looking at them as a threat. Okay? Yet those other nations never used it, man. The Edomites were the only ones to ever use that nuclear power, man. But yet they're policing everyone else. Okay? What you have to understand is that the Most High set them up, right, to basically destroy themselves. Okay? That's it. He told them, listen, he put it in their mind to make that nuclear missile. They thought they were going to bully everyone, but now people are threatening them with that nuclear power. Okay? And not only that, they're really starting to fight against each other with that nuclear power. You can't give a destructive kid dynamite to play with. Because that's all Esau is. That's all the so-called white man is. He's a destructive kid. All right? So you giving him some dynamite to go play with, he's going to destroy shit. All right? He's going to mess shit up. All right? All right, he made a pit and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. All right, so that's it, man. So everything, what he's doing right now is really going to set himself up, man, to be destroyed. All right, because the Most High gave him a blessing, right, through Isaac, which was the sword. Okay, so his blessing was weaponry. That's what the so-called white man's blessing is. But he's going to destroy himself with his own blessing, man. Okay, he's going to destroy himself with his own blessing. All right. Matter of fact, let me get that in Genesis, man. Genesis 27 chapter, okay? Because that same blessing that he has is what the Most High is going to use to destroy him. But that goes back to that scripture. As a matter of fact, I have to get that scripture too. I'll get that after this. This is Genesis 27. This is Genesis 27 and 37. All right, this is after Esau came back from hunting, right, to come back and receive his blessing. Now, when he came with the cooked meal for Isaac. All right, but Jacob had already supplanted the blessing. Okay, so this is Esau coming back now. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. With corn and wine have I sustained him, and what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me